"You can't do this. I am a pillar of this community. You're making a huge mistake, and the Federal Aviation Administration will hear about this. Trust me." Her voice, a shrill, acidic shriek, cut through the crisp morning air like shattered glass, echoing off the hangars and a row of gleaming Cessnas. "You think you've seen it all? Think again. This wasn't some petty argument over lawn length. This was a complete, full-blown meltdown on hallowed ground, the kind that makes your stomach drop." I sighed, a long, weary exhalation that felt like releasing all the tension in the world, and just watched the spectacle unfold. Her name was Brenda Carmichael, though the entire flight training camp knew her as HOA Karen, a title she'd earned through a decade of micromanagement and self-appointed superiority. She stood there, perfectly coiffed hair refusing to budge in the faint breeze, a venomous glare fixed on Commander Miller. He was a man chiseled from stone and decades of discipline, but even his stoicism seemed to waver slightly under her relentless assault. The crime? She had been caught joyriding one of the school's L-29 Delphins without permission, a brazen violation of every safety protocol and FAA regulation imaginable. The commander had grounded her immediately, and her reaction was, well, explosive. "This is an overreaction. I merely wanted to feel the thrill of the cockpit again. It's my right as a taxpayer." She punctuated the statement by stomping a pristine leather boot on the tarmac, the sound a sharp crack. What Brenda didn't know was that her past was about to catch up with her in the most spectacular way. As she continued to rant, a hush fell over the group of wide-eyed cadets who had gathered to watch. Commander Miller held up a hand, and for a moment, I thought he was going to offer some sort of concession. He just looked at her, then over at me. "I'm Alex, a new observer here and FAA liaison, but I've got a personal history with her that goes way back. I'd seen this act before. I just waited." The truth was far more damning than a simple joyride. Back at a military flight program, Brenda wasn't just a pilot. She was a danger. Her negligence had caused an incident, unrecorded near-miss that nearly cost a young trainee her career and her life. I was there, a co-pilot on a transport, watching it all unfold on our radar. The FAA had, in a bizarre twist of politics and bureaucracy, defended her, sweeping the incident under the rug to avoid a PR nightmare. They said it was pilot error on the trainee's part, a cruel lie that haunted me for years. It was a dark secret I had to live with, a silent scream in my head every time I saw her preening on social media. My stomach churned, a knot of old anger and new resolve twisting inside me. The commander, seeing my subtle nod, spoke. "Mrs. Carmichael, this is no longer about your joyride. We have received an official inquiry." He gestured toward me, and I felt her eyes, two cold chips of ice, land on my face. She squinted, her haughty expression contorting into one of genuine confusion, then recognition, and finally, pure, unadulterated fury. "You," she spat, pointing a manicured finger at me. "I remember you, that little flyboy from the cargo plane. What are you doing here? You're nothing." I met her gaze, a small, knowing smile playing on my lips. "I'm here to ensure this training camp's pilots are safe, Mrs. Carmichael." "Something you couldn't be." The crowd gasped, a low murmur rippling through them. "You think you can come here and slander me? I'll sue you into the ground." "My connections." "Your connections." A new voice boomed, sharp and clear, cutting through Brenda's tirade like a laser. The sound wasn't coming from the ground. It was coming from the sky. We all looked up. A jet, not a Cessna, not a trainer, but a monstrous silver-gray shape descending with a roar that shook the very ground. An F-22 Raptor, its twin engines screaming a song of power and precision. The cadets stared in awe, but my blood ran cold. This wasn't part of any drill. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, thudding rhythm. "What in the?" Commander Miller whispered, his composure finally breaking. The Raptor dropped its landing gear, its immense silhouette growing larger and larger as it glided down the runway, its landing a masterpiece of controlled grace. It screeched to a halt right in front of us, the hot exhaust a shimmering haze behind it. The canopy hissed open, and a figure emerged, helmet in hand. A woman. She unbuckled, jumped down, and started walking toward us, her flight suit crinkling with every step. My mind raced. Who was this? What did this mean? Then I saw her face, framed by a short, no-nonsense haircut, and it hit me. Major Lena Petrov, the very trainee Brenda had nearly killed, the one who had been unfairly blamed. A chill ran down my spine, a mix of shock and exhilarating hope. Lena walked straight past Commander Miller and the stunned cadets, her eyes locked on Brenda. She didn't say a word, her silence more deafening than the jet's engines. Brenda, for the first time, seemed to shrink. Her bravado evaporated, replaced by a pale, panicked look. What is this? This is a federal crime. You can't just land a military jet here. I'll report you to the FAA. She was sputtering, her voice cracking. Lena just held up a small device. A flight log recorder. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. A sudden gust of wind whipped across the tarmac, and I could feel the collective tension, a palpable, humming energy. This, Lena said, her voice low and steady, a stark contrast to Brenda's hysteria, is a copy of your flight log from October 27, 2012. It includes the original, unedited audio transmission. She pressed a button. A voice, Brenda's voice, crackled to life, distorted but unmistakable. Tower, this is Flight 11 Bravo Alpha. I have a mechanical issue. Engine power is fluctuating. Requesting immediate landing. The voice sounded panicked, but then, a second voice, Lena's younger, more hesitant voice, came through. Negative, Tower, that's incorrect. My engine is perfectly fine. She's cutting me off the radio. The recording abruptly cut off, followed by static, and then Brenda's frantic voice again. Mayday! Mayday! I am losing control. The truth was laid bare. Brenda had faked a mechanical issue on her own aircraft to cut off Lena's transmission, then panicked and nearly caused a mid-air collision, blaming it on the other pilot. Everyone stared at Brenda, their faces a mix of disgust and disbelief. The FAA's so-called defense had been nothing more than a carefully crafted statement to prevent an embarrassment, a cover-up to protect a military contractor and a powerful politician's niece. They had defended her, yes, but only with a lie. You can't prove that. Brenda stammered, her face a blotchy red. That's doctored. Lena looked her dead in the eye, her expression one of cold, hard justice. I landed on an FAA-controlled airfield without permission to publicly share the unedited, original recording from my aircraft's black box, which I've been holding onto for years. You think they'll sweep this under the rug now? You think your connections can fix this public display? The sound of silence was deafening. Brenda looked from Lena to me, then to the silent, watching crowd. Her perfectly manicured facade cracked and crumbled. She sank to her knees, a pathetic, weeping mess, her carefully constructed world collapsing with the weight of her deceit. All the years of arrogant condescension, of being the HOA Karen, had led to this single, devastating moment of public humiliation. She wasn't a victim. She was a fraud, and the truth had finally landed like a ton of bricks, an F-22 to be exact. In the end, Commander Miller helped Lena get her paperwork in order. The FAA, facing a public relations disaster of epic proportions, was forced to issue a formal retraction, clearing Major Lena Petrov's name and exposing Brenda Carmichael's dangerous incompetence. Brenda was not just kicked out of pilot camp. She was blacklisted from any aviation-related field for life. The camp, once under threat, was now stronger than ever, its integrity proven in the most dramatic fashion possible. As I stood beside Lena, watching her prepare for takeoff, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. My own silent scream was finally quieted. Justice, it seemed, wasn't always a slow-moving, bureaucratic process. Sometimes it just needed a little push from a well-timed supersonic flyover. So, when a lie is used to protect someone and harm another, is it better for the truth to be exposed, even if it means breaking a few rules to do it? What's the right choice here?